On May 17, 2001, 17-year-old Alyssa Turney was wrapping up her junior year at Paradise Valley High School in Phoenix, Arizona. It was the last day of school before summer, and she had plans to hang out with friends later. Her stepfather, Michael Turney, picked her up early around 11 a.m., claiming they were going to lunch. According to Michael, they returned home after lunch, got into an argument, and Alyssa stormed off to her room. He said she left a note saying she was running away to California. That, he insisted, was the last he saw of her. But the note didn't make sense to those who knew Alyssa best. She had left behind all her personal belongings, her cell phone, makeup, and purse, and she never contacted anyone again. Not her friends, not her boyfriend, not her siblings. Her disappearance was reported, but early efforts to locate her were minimal, largely because law enforcement accepted Michael's runaway story. Years passed with no answers. Then in 2008, a disturbing twist put Michael Turney back under scrutiny, not for murder, but for something far more explosive. During a search of Michael's home as part of an unrelated terrorism investigation, authorities discovered a stockpile of weapons, 26 homemade pipe bombs, and a manifesto outlining his grievances with a local union. He was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in federal prison for the explosives. The discovery, especially the bizarre, violent plans detailed in the manifesto, reignited interest in Alyssa's disappearance. Even more suspiciously, Michael had obsessively recorded phone calls and video around the home, but the tapes from the day Alyssa disappeared were missing. By this point, Alyssa's younger sister Sarah, who had once believed her father's version of events, began asking questions. Over time, she grew convinced that Michael had harmed Alyssa. As she entered adulthood, Sarah launched her own investigation. She reviewed documents, spoke to law enforcement, and began a social media campaign that gained viral attention. Through TikTok videos and podcasts, Sarah pressured police to act. In 2020, nearly 2 decades after Alyssa vanished, Michael Turney was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The arrest was celebrated by many as long overdue justice, especially by those who had followed Sarah's advocacy. But prosecuting a case nearly 20 years old, with no body and no physical evidence, proved challenging. The case hinged almost entirely on circumstantial evidence. Michael's inconsistencies, his refusal to take a polygraph, the surveillance footage that conveniently disappeared, and statements Alyssa made to others shortly before her disappearance, suggesting she was afraid of Michael and planned to report him for alleged abuse. There was no forensic evidence, no DNA, no confession, and no eyewitness. The case went to trial in July 2023. Prosecutors argued that Michael murdered Alyssa to keep her from coming forward with allegations of abuse, and then staged her disappearance as a runaway. Sarah testified against him. The defense, meanwhile, hammered the absence of concrete evidence. They emphasized that no body had ever been found and that there was no proof a murder had even occurred. They suggested that Alyssa could have indeed run away. Partway through the trial, the judge granted a defense motion for a directed verdict, which effectively acquitted Michael Turney before the jury could deliberate. The judge ruled that the prosecution had failed to present sufficient evidence to allow the case to continue. Under Arizona law, once a defendant is acquitted, they cannot be retried. Michael Turney was released immediately. The verdict was devastating to Sarah, who had fought so hard for her sister and believed with all her heart that justice would be served. But legally, the case is closed. No one can ever be charged again for Alyssa's murder unless new evidence emerges that proves someone else committed it. Today, Alyssa Turney remains missing. Her body has never been found. Her story became not only a tragic tale of a vanished teenage girl, but also a case study in how pressure from family and public activism can push authorities to act even if justice remains elusive in the end.